What's up everyone, Majestic here, back at you with a very special Fortnite video. In today's video, I'll be revealing my drop strategy that I've kept secret this whole time. So basically this drop strategy, which surprisingly I've never seen anybody else use, allows me to always drop inside the circle of the storm, wherever I want, without any enemies around. After which, I'll reach the top 10 very easily and have a very high chance of winning. And trust me, you're going to want to hear me out, even if you're not going to use the strategy, because it's really different from every other strategy that's been shown this far. Because, as you see, I always drop when there's around 60-ish people left, sometimes more, sometimes less, and the storm is already going to be there. Like, I'm going to know exactly where it is. I'll often drop inside of it, like near the center, sometimes on the, like, near the edges, or just outside of it, because I want to do a chest run. And as you'll see, like, you never really encounter any enemies because you always know to drop away from the bus. So I always try to drop where there are chests, where there are building infrastructures that are still intact that haven't been looted. And you also see that's a really great way to get like 1,500 materials like I do right here. Then you can build a sky bridge easily, get a win easily. Alright, now let's dive into comparing the three major drop strategies. The first one being the fast dive. So the fast dive is what everybody uses. You drop in a major city, you get some loot in the house you land on. If you kill other people, then you get their loot. So you have a good chance of getting multiple kills because multiple people drop in those cities. If you're after that and you're less about trying to survive, then that's a strategy for you. So you have a really high chance of dying at the start. But if that happens, then you didn't spend too much time on that match and you can just start another one. You also have a high chance of dying while you're trying to run towards the storm, towards the center, because you're going to be doing a lot of running. Sometimes you'll get lucky, but most of the time you're going to be running away. And while you're going to be running, there are going to be people hiding in bushes, hiding behind buildings. And you can be sniped at. Many ways of dying while you're running towards the storm. And there's really no time to gather materials with this. So many people especially around. And you don't want to give away your position because that'd be a terrible thing to do. So that's what's to consider with a fast dive. Alright, now the long dive. Some people tend to use this one. So basically the principle is you drop out of the bus and then you just glide to somewhere around the edges of the map, away from these major cities. You'll usually find some enemies, but like way less than if you dropped in a major city. However, if you're on one edge of the map and the storm spawns on the other side of the map, you're going to have an even longer distance to run. And that can happen very often, especially if you use the long glide a lot. But if the storm spawns next to you, then you might have time to gather a bunch of materials if that's what you were after. But it's not a consistent way of getting a bunch of materials each game, because if the storm spawns away from you, then you know you won't have time to gather materials, you're going to have to run anyway. And that's another chance of, you know, dying while trying to run. So that's why it didn't take long before I came up with my own strategy to avoid being killed while running towards a storm, and also giving me a chance to get as many materials as I want each game consistently. The strategy, I call it the storm glide. So what you want to do is just glide until the storm spawns, then you decide on the optimal location to drop, considering where the storm is and where the bus went. So you're going to find somewhere where there are no enemies, there's going to be plenty of loot, and you don't want enemies anyway because you're going to be defenseless when you drop. And if you drop somewhere that's inside the circle and away from the bus path, later in the game when you're going to be progressing to the smaller circles, you're going to be encountering little or no enemy. So it's basically guaranteed you're going to get top 20 and top 10s every single game. Plus, if you have full shields and full health, then I'll definitely help you win if you're in top 10 situation. And this strategy is also going to help you get max materials really fast every single game, especially if you know all the right places to go. You won't be bothered by any other enemy players, and also you're going to be inside the storm and near the next following storms. The only risk with this strategy is relying on chests for weapons. You can be very lucky or unlucky, so make sure to farm as many chests as you can. Now I'll be giving the guidelines on how to best use this strategy. So an important thing to know is the first 4 phases of playing a match. The first one varies in duration as doors will drop in, and the second one is everybody off, last stop in. So the second one usually lasts about 30 seconds and is the time where everybody drops. Except you want to stay inside the bus and wait for it to kick you out when it ends the phase. That way you're going to spend a maximum amount of time in the air, so it's going to give you plenty of time to wait for the storm to spawn, and then you're going to have plenty of time to think about where you want to go, and then glide there. So while you're waiting inside the bus, the best thing you can do is memorize the bus path. You want to remember it because you're going to avoid all the region around it when you're going to be dropping inside the circle. And it's also going to help you later in the game because you're going to know where people are most likely going to come from when the storm gets smaller. Now that you have the bus path memorized, it's time to drop out. So I'm just going to let myself get kicked out, no need to press jump. So immediately after getting kicked out, you want to take out your glider and head towards the center of the map. So you're going to be tracing a line towards the center of the map. And that line is going to be very similar to the bus path, so if you weren't paying attention or you just forgot, then there's a way to just recreate that bus path in your mind. Alright, so now you're going to have a full minute after being kicked out to get to the center of the map. Usually if you just head there as fast as you can, you're always going to land at the center of the map exactly when the storm spawns. So it always takes a minute to just get towards the center, no matter what, pretty much. If you look down like completely instead of like looking in front of you, then you're going to slow down like I showed just a bit earlier. So right next to the lake, near the hill over there, is where you want to go. Alright, the next phase is actually when the storm appears, and it's going to last exactly 3 minutes and 20 seconds each time. So now that we know where the storm is, all we want to do is avoid the red zone when we drop. So the red zone is an imaginary zone that follows the bus path. Anywhere in there is probably where everything got looted, everybody dropped. Anyway, if I dropped anywhere in there, then I'm going to have trouble finding weapons and I might get killed. So if I drop anywhere further from there, I have a better chance of finding a bunch of loot without having any trouble. And as you see, I've already spotted somewhere I want to go. So all I'm going to do is follow there, and while I'm still in the air, I'm going to scout the zone, see if it's clear, see if it hasn't been looted. What you want to look out is for holes in the, like on the roofs. You want to look for open doors, you want to look for people running, leaving a little trail behind. Also, you can look for damaged trees and damaged materials. And you also want to pay attention to structures that have been built. Just like this ramp right below me, I know somebody else built that, so I'm not going to go near it. But I think Flesh Factory is still intact, so I'm going to go there. What I'm going to do is look through the windows, see if I see weapons. I'm going to look if anything's been looted, and if anything's been destroyed, or any ramps built. But everything looks clean for now, so this is a potential good spot to land in. I'm not going to rush into it, so I'm just going to keep gliding. That way, if I detect something's wrong, I can just go somewhere else that's nearby. So everything's looking good. You can also, you know, pass by buildings and houses, see if you can listen for a chest. Alright, so let's go in. Almost at that tree there. And what do you know? I found a chest right away. See? Didn't die. You got a shield, got a weapon. Alright, so I just looted the whole place, got full shields. I have, you know, some weapons, decent kind of weapons. Didn't encounter any enemies. I got time to do anything I want. And here you can see me get the win. So, got the win. Well, it was a close call. Here's another example of just me, you know, dropping. Same strategy. You can look, there are fewer than 60 players that were left. I got like over 1,600 materials. Plenty of materials to build the structure and get the win. So a very good way to get a bunch of materials. Alright, so here's another example of me using the same strategy. Drop somewhere with no enemies, I get the chest, and then I'm just gonna do this chest run and gather a bunch of materials, so that's what I do. I was damaged by the storm, not the players, so I still didn't encounter anyone this far. And I'm in the top 4. Top 4, get my first kill. Just a little later, get the win. So I don't always build Skybridge though. Here's an example of that. So I just dropped outside the circle because I want to do this chest run and it pays off. Got a legendary scar and shield. And here's an example of showing that once you're near the storm, you can be the first one in the area. And once you're the first one in the area, if anybody else comes around, you're gonna have to drop on them. And here's me getting the win. Still very few kills. I mean, if you're looking to get many kills, this might not be the strategy for you, but this is a very effective way to win. Like I said, you're always going to be in top 10 situations, and you're always going to be well equipped relatively. Otherwise, you can just kill one of the last few people remaining and get their loot, and just work your way from there. So here's another example. Just dropping by, already have a shield. So here you see me a little later, top 20. I don't have very good weapons, however, I do have this great advantage over the other players, is that I'm near the end zone already. And here you see me get the win. Can't believe that guy was hiding right behind the tree. Got 5 kills, and I barely moved. If you see my position from where I was and where I am right now, I was right next to the store, like where the end game is. So here's an example of me using the strategy and then seeing somebody is already in this house I wanted to go to. That person could have been there for like 2 minutes already. All I do is just fly to another destination. I have multiple places I can go. I already know where Storm is, so all I have to do is choose one chest route or another. It doesn't really matter to me. As long as I can just get my chest and nobody's there, I'll get the win. And it's like I said, you'll get top 20 without encountering anyone. You're just going to be slowly going to the center of the storm as it shrinks. And you'll have to kill probably just like 3, 4, maybe a little more. Last 2 players remaining. I missed a couple shots there. Lose my advantage with high ground, but still managed to get the win. Here's my best example of having shitty loot, but having the advantage of being in the storm already. You can get the drop on anyone and just kill one of the top 10 players remaining. Get all their freaking good loot. After which you use that same loot you picked up and use it against the last few people remaining. In this case, last person remaining, to get the win. There we go. The way I would summarize the strategy, it's that its main focus is on winning. It's about having that high win to match ratio. It's not about having a lot of kills. It's just about winning. So as long as your main focus is winning, you're gonna love the strategy. But I completely understand those who prefer to just get kills, either because they're streaming or because they just rather have kills. For me, a person that only plays like 3-4 matches per gaming session, I'd much rather win most of them than try and play like a bunch of shorter matches where I get multiple kills but also end up dying a lot more. Because no matter how good you are in combat, you can always die from any encounter. You can also be killed by somebody hiding in the bush. You can get sniped at while running towards the storm. Anything can happen. And trust me, I love getting kills in other competitive games, but in Fortnite you only have 1 life, and I really hate when I die in Fortnite. So that's why I'm just going to keep on using my strategy, because it gives me the best chances of getting to the top 10. And once I'm in the top 10, you really don't need much to kill the last 2 people remaining and get the win. So that's it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope this strategy helps some of you out to get more wins. So if you enjoy the video, or if you think that you're going to use this strategy, please share this with your friends. Get the word out about the strategy. I'm really happy I could share this with you. It doesn't have to be a secret anymore. And also, I'm going to be uploading more videos like this one and some even greater content on this channel in the near future. So make sure to subscribe for those. I want to end this video by wishing that you have a great time this holiday. And as always, peace out.